Talking about things I don't enjoy. Keir Starmer, the UK government have announced plans for a new digital ID scheme to be rolled out across the UK. They announced it the other day, randomly, boom, they dropped out of the blue, and now everyone's scrambling to make sense of it. Everyone's scrambling to work out their arguments why they hate it. Big Brother, control, all this malarkey, government, prying eyes once again. But now we're going to be required to carry around these ID cards and stuff as a way for the government to stem the tide of illegal migration. That's what they're telling us. They're telling us the reason why we need these ID cards is because there's too much illegal migration. So there's too many illegal immigration, and it's now affecting the jobs market. And they want to take away the option for employers to hire people without papers. So they're introducing this system where UK residents have to go out their way to get an ID. I don't know. None of it makes any sense. But this is the official blurb. From the gov.uk site, right? It says as follows. A new digital ID scheme will help combat illegal working while making it easier for the vast majority of people to use vital government services. Digital ID will be mandatory for right to work checks by the end of the Parliament. The scheme will be available to all UK citizens, legal residents, saving time by ending the need for complicated identity checks, which often rely on copies of paper records. By the way, identity checks aren't complicated. They're not complicated at all. They're lying. They're not complicated at all. You just type it up and check. Similar goes when you're doing a fucking tenant check, or if a landlord wants to do like a tenancy check on you. It's not that difficult whatsoever. It continues. Instead, the rollout will in time make it simpler. Apply for services like driving licenses, childcare and welfare, while streamlining access to tax records. A new digital ID will be held on people's phones, just as millions use the NHS app on contactless mobile payment. There'll be no requirement for individuals to carry their ID card or be asked to produce it, but the digital ID cards will be mandatory as a means of proving your right to work. So basically, you have to have it, unless you're just not going to work. This will stop those with no right to be here from being able to find work, curbing their prospects of earning money, one of the key pull factors for people who have come to the UK illegally. It will send a clear message that if you come here illegally, you will not be able to work, deterring people from making these dangerous journeys. The initiative builds on the government's crackdown on illegal working and its mission to control the borders as part of the plan for change. Under this government, illegal working arrests have soared by 50%. Jesus Christ. New legislation is being brought forward to stop illegal working in the gig economy. The proposals also follow the government's success in deporting the first illegal migrants under the UK-France returns deal last week. Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, said, I know working people are worried that the level of illegal immigration to this country. No, we're not. A secure border and controlled migration, are reasonable demands, and the government is listening and delivering. Digital ID is an enormous opportunity for the UK. It will make it tougher to work illegally in this country, making our borders more secure. And it will also offer ordinary citizens countless benefits, like being able to prove our identity to access key services swiftly, rather than hunting around for any old utility bill. We are doing the hard graft to deliver a fairer Britain for those who want to see change, not division. That is at the heart of our plan for change, which is focused on delivering those who want to see their communities thrive again. Make the UK thrive again. So, a whole bunch of bullshit, really. I think in general, it doesn't really address the problem they want to address. Instead of just trying to secure the borders or do something to stop the tide of illegal immigration in this country, they just want to issue out ID cards because it's the easy thing to do. The issuing out the ID cards also prevents them from looking like, nationalist by, enforcing more the rule of law or whatever on the borders, maybe getting more police there, deploying the army, whatever they want to do. They don't want to do that because they don't like the optics. Because the optics of increasing the amount of, security on the borders, maybe getting different types of police or whatever, maybe increasing the punishments if you come in, whatever that needs to be done. They don't want to do that because it will make them look a certain way. So let's just do the whole ID card thing. And the really annoying thing about it is that this ID system as well would have been somewhat beneficial when we're in the EU. when we were in the EU, it would have made some sense if they decided to introduce these ID cards. Because I think in the EU, if I'm not mistaken, the ID cards that they use, they basically can use them as a substitute for a passport. Like if you live in the EU, you don't even need to carry your ID with your passport with you to go to different countries. You can use your ID card as a way to travel to other neighboring EU nations and shit. But what would the ID card do in terms of travel in the UK? Probably won't do that much. So it's really annoying that this card that it's going to be introduced and rolled out soon, that could have maybe opened up the doors for more of us to kind of travel into Europe, isn't even going to help because we're not in Europe anymore. So that whole advantage is fucking gone. That whole advantage is fucking gone. And you know, more acts. We've already got so many different ways for people to prove that you got a right to work here, from like IDs, from like passports and NI numbers and birth certificates, all that malarkey. But they would rather you not have all those things and just store it all on one app on your phone. Not even give you a physical one. You have to have it all on your phone and stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's just all a bit of a bullshit, really. It's all a bit of a bullshit, but unfortunately, we have no little option to this. It's just going to get rolled out. It's probably just going to get rolled out, and we just have to like sit down and kind of suck it up. We have to just sit down and suck it all up. We have to just sit down and suck it all up. But there are some people who are against it. At the moment, there's a petition going on the government petition site. It says, don't introduce digital ID cards. We demand, let's actually see the blurb. What's the blurb say? The blurb says, we demand that the UK government immediately commits to not introducing digital ID cards. There are reports that this is being looked at. We think that it would be a step towards mass surveillance and digital control, and that no one should be forced to register with a state-controlled ID systems, which I agree, 100%. We oppose the creation of any national ID. ID cards were scrapped in 2010, in our view, for a good reason. And so far, as you can see with the ticker climbing, there's 1.4 million signatures on this. 1.4 million signatures and climbing. So a lot of people are against it, but most likely, when it comes to the UK, no one listens to petitions and shit. No one listens to protests. They're just going to do what they're going to do, and we're just going to have to learn to suck it up. So, you know, good initiative, good way to try to combat this and to try and shout for this and oppose it and whatnot. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to have any effect. We're just going to have to suck it up. We're just going to have to fucking suck it up. That's the unfortunate nature of this type of shit. That's the unfortunate nature of this type of shit.